It's test time again here at Torquay Golf Club, and Titleist have kindly given me a couple of their rescue clubs to test out, and we're going to compare them up to, so we got 4 iron, 5 iron against 23 degree and 25 degree rescues. So let's see which one wins. Players are turning up to my lessons with rescue clubs, but they're generally like a 19 degree rescue, so they're trying to replace like their 3 iron. Well, I think it's time to start looking at replacing the 4 iron and the 5 iron, because you know, these are getting harder and harder to hit as time goes on, and players would benefit so much more with a more loft. You know, this particular one, this is the one that excites me the most. It's the 25 degree, and this is kind of replacing the 5 iron. The results I've been getting from this club alone, it's been absolutely phenomenal in my fittings, and it'd be really interesting to see when we test to see how they, you know, how it all works out. So we're looking at some of the dry ball data here in the studio, and I've got my 15 handicap golfer, and he started off with this is the 5 iron that he was hitting, and you can see there that his average carry with the 5 iron was 119, and then you can see the 4 iron test. His average carry with a 4 iron was 120. Interestingly, on the 15 handicapper, I also asked him to do a quick test with his current 6 iron. And you can see here that he hits his 6 iron an average 124 yard carry. So interesting to see how that gentleman is hitting 5 iron like 119, 4 iron 120, and then we asked him to hit 6 iron and that's going 124. So it's really interesting to see how that sort of the gaps are starting to squeeze in a little bit. If we look at the testing now for his 5 hybrid test, you can see there that he's carried that 134 yards. If we look now at his 4 hybrid test, we can see there that he really does hit this one a little bit further, and his carry distance on average is 147. You know, we're seeing that nice gap with 6 iron going 124, we're seeing 5 hybrid going 134, and then we're seeing 4 hybrid going 147. Really good gapping for this gentleman, but what's really interesting is how it's not very good gapping with the 5 iron and the 4 iron matching him with the 6 iron. The 6 iron's even going even further on average, so that's really interesting. So here we have my 13 handicap golfer, and again I got him to test his 5 iron, his 4 iron, and then I did the test with the 5 hybrid and the 4 hybrid. You can see here that I've just disabled the sort of miss hit that he had with the 5 iron, which he carried on average 124. His 4 iron average carry was 139, but noticeably what you'll see is how inconsistent he is with his 5 iron, and again how inconsistent he is with his 4 iron. So the 5 hybrid test with our 13 handicap golfer, you can see here that on average he's carrying it around 128, and with the 4 iron or the 4 hybrid test, you can see he's carried at 137. So a nice little gap there between those two clubs. But what's really interesting is how this gentleman can carry his hybrid 5 and his hybrid 4 very, very consistent in comparison to his irons. So what we were seeing in the dry ball data there is that, you know, both the players can hit 5 irons, they can hit 4 irons, but the reality is that they were just like what I'm seeing in all my fittings. When players get to sort of up to the 6 iron, the gapping is quite nice, and then it all sort of merges in together. You could see there from the dry ball data that the gapping then became better when they moved into their hybrids, and I'm not saying they can't hit those 4 irons and 5 irons, but they can hit them, but on a consistent level they were better off hitting the rescues than they were the irons. So I'm on the 12th hole now. I've got about 190 yards. It is downhill, par 5, and I'm going to be trying out the 5 hybrid against my 5 irons. I'm expecting to see the 5 hybrid just go that little bit higher. I'm expecting the 5 hybrid just to go that little bit further as well. But you know, let's have a little look at the shots and see where they end up. First thing I noticed after those 2 shots there was that, I mean, the difference in height was absolutely unbelievable. The 5-iron hit okay, maybe fractionally off the bottom of the club, but more of a sort of a lower flight, whereas the Rescue, the 25 degree, my word, it was just so much higher than what I'm used to seeing. Why am I not using Rescue clubs? Certainly when it comes to that sort of high, 4 and 5 irons. A shot like that is a perfect example. I've got water down the left-hand side, ball slightly above my feet, and I just feel so much more comfortable hitting a longer iron than I do maybe a Rescue club. And probably because I just don't want the ball that far in the air. If you struggle with height and you're using longer irons, definitely consider the Rescue clubs, because the height was phenomenal. Just looking at the results coming into this hole now, par 5, 12th hole here at Torquay. The yellow ball was the ball that I used with my 5-iron, which is there. And then you can see further up on the right-hand side there is the 25 degree hybrid. You can see it over there. So you can see there that definitely the 5 hybrid is going a lot further, and exactly what I was expecting, and exactly what I'm seeing from the dry ball data as well. Okay, so what was the difference for me on that shot? I think you could see from the 2 flights that the 5 hybrid certainly flew a lot higher, and the 5-iron flew a lot lower. Now for me personally, I didn't like that shape, that ball above my feet, water down the left-hand side, so you could see there that I probably bailed out a little bit with the 5 hybrid, because I just felt that I was going to hit it a bit too high and maybe overshape it too much. So you could see the ball starting a lot further right, and that's just a psychological approach that I've taken on that particular shot. But I have to say, for something that felt easy to hit, this one wins all day long. It was so much easier, even though I didn't quite catch it, it still flew exactly how I wanted it to fly to a degree, so much higher than what I'm used to seeing with the iron. Definitely worth trying. So I'm on the 14th hole now. I've got 195 yards and it's uphill, and we're going to be testing my 4-iron against the 4 hybrid. I'm expecting to see some better results this time with the hybrid than I am with the 4-iron. Purely because I think the 4-iron is just going to go that little bit lower and not get the carry that I'm looking for to get up to that top of that hill, whereas I'm expecting to see a nice high flight with the 4 hybrid, which should get me to my yardage up the hill. Let's give it a go and see how we get on. That was quite different again. The 4 hybrid just flew so well. I mean, I didn't quite strike my my 4-iron, came up really low, really flat, sort of chasing up the hill. But that 4 hybrid, my word, it just flew so much higher. I got great flight out of it, and looks like I might be putting a hybrid in replacement of a 4-iron. So I'm just walking up onto the 14th. And my first one, my 4-iron, landed around this sort of area here, and then kind of kicked off this bank and ended up over on the left hand side there. So you can see there that 195 yards out, and it may have made front edge. Now the 4 hybrid, my word, what a flight that got out of it. I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the result of it to a degree, but I'll show you why in just a moment. But yeah, what a great flight I got from that. So you can see here that this is my 4 hybrid, but I've actually landed it. You can see the pitch mark right there. So you can see the pitch mark right there, which landed, I don't know, 15 paces short of the pin, and then it's trickled back down the slope. The flight I've got from that 4 hybrid was absolutely superb. So just to summarise what we've kind of done today, I thought it was really interesting how we saw that bunching up of numbers with the guys, the 15 and 13 handicap golfer. And I really put it down to the fact that they're just not getting the height to get the correct flight out of the 5 and the 4 irons. You saw it on the golf course with me as well, when you saw me hit the 5 hybrid and the 4 hybrid. You could see the height difference that I got in comparison to my irons. A bit of testing that we haven't done, which I think majority of people would benefit from, is, this thick rough stuff. Players would benefit by having a Rescue club coming through, cutting through the rough, than a 4-iron or a 5-iron. I definitely think when you're out testing these clubs and these rescue clubs, throw a ball into the rough and give it a test out of the semi-rough and the thicker rough. See what comes out better. I would guess that, you know, for the most part, I'd see my rescue clubs coming out that little bit better than a 4 and a 5 iron. With your pro, get gap tested, have a little play with these rescue clubs, but seriously consider replacing. You know, don't be afraid to replace the longer irons in your bag. It's going to make you play more consistent golf, in my opinion. If you like what you're watching with our YouTube channel, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. We're also on Twitter, so if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Hendriksen Golf, and you can also find us on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching.